This is AV Super Friends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV Super Friends.
For March 12th, 2025, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV Super Friends Off the Rails episode number, what's the number here? 105. Good gravy. I need to move that up. That's broadcasting live to tape from coast to coast and everywhere in between, transmitting across time zones faster than hotel Wi-Fi from the back of the rack to the front of the house, pushing buttons, flipping switches, and turning knobs. I'm Chris Deckner, and you're tuned in for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure, but we're here on Wednesday.
Friday.
Because we have a guest.
Or two. We
It's
really put it all on
Friday
them. Well, you really just blame it
I
all
think
on
it's
them.
Friday in Australia.
It might be.
So, with that in mind, let's say hello to today's panel of AV Super Friends. We're joined by an international group manager from Kansas City. Say hello to Jamie Reinhardt.
Nothing says international like the middle of the country.
Intranational, right? Also joined by a product mobility consultant from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolozinski.
We have to move these boxes, gentlemen. Pick them up and move them. We have to. It's part of the gig.
Oh, moving product. I just got that. Also joined by a legacy identity representative from Greensboro, North Carolina. Say hello to Larry Darling.
Yep, I represent who I used to be.
Before he stole somebody's ID.
Also joined by our vice president for Central Residence, whatever that means, from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Mr. Justin Rexon.
That's a real thing. So it has to do with your nervous system.
Yeah.
You use MRIs and detect disease. Joseph knows.
Centrally.
Real.
Okay. Finally, our special guest joined by a human team facilitator from Fairfax, Virginia. Say hello to Joseph Valerio.
Hey guys, always about the people.
Somebody's got to do it. Right.
The fun thing about these titles is somewhere somebody has these on their business cards.
I know. I'm just hoping one day, hey, that's me.
That's my job. So on today's show, we're going to discuss professional development for our own teams, and we're going to have a preview of the Northwest Met Conference coming up in April. But first, not the news, some housekeeping. So if you're listening to this as a recorded MP3, we do stream live on Fridays at about 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, or whenever everybody shows up. You can join us live on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. And when Blue Sky gets their act together, we can stream there too. But they're baby stepping into it.
Or if the other ones are hacked and down, just go to try the other one.
If you can't join us live, we still want you to connect with us on the socials. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Blue Sky, etc. to keep up with all the fun stuff that we're doing. You go figure out how to find us, because I'm not going to try to read off URLs.
Just call Larry. He'll tell you.
Call Larry personally. Please don't forget to spread the word. Share this podcast with your friends, enemies, perfect strangers, or people you're standing behind at the DMV, because you're there for a while. So share your favorite episodes. Just play it. Just put that person.
Yeah, not on your earbuds. Take your earbuds out and just play it right off the speaker of your phone.
If you want to support what we're doing here, please consider donating. Your contributions help us to keep bringing you the honest content that you love or love to hate, and you can find the donation link in the show notes or on our website. And we do want to hear from you. So if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email or comment on social media. Hit us up on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Blue Sky, or send an email at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. And finally, when you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever the heck you're listening to this, please rate and review us, because that bumps us up in the algos and forces other people to accidentally listen to us. And that's the most important thing. So.
That's our biggest growth segment right there, is just tricking people to listen.
That's right.
Yeah, just the accidental
All it takes is that one, and they hear those smooth
Accidental
voices, and then
listens.
they're addicted. That's all it takes.
I'm not sure if that works that way, but
That's how it works, Chris.
so that said, we're going to shuffle up our format real quick, and we are going to take a quick break right now, and Jamie's going to tell us why it's important for you to reach out to us.
As many of you know, the Super Friends have always been better received when we have more input from you. So, here's your chance. Send us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and get involved with the show. We're looking for some topics to discuss, some fellow nerds to talk to, or just general AV awesomeness to brag about. But remember, we'll probably steal your ideas. And I suppose we'd take some criticism, but that wouldn't be very nice. Anyway, drop us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and find out how quickly we ask you to join this nonsense.
All right, now that we've got all that out of the way, and because it doesn't really count, but I'm going to push the button anyway, we're going to call this segment The News. Just so we can hear Justin sing along with it. Go.
Yeah.
It's everyone's favorite jingle. So, Joseph, bit of background on that one. We have that. We initially were using that jingle without Justin singing along with it. And he sang along on one of the recordings, and I went back and captured that, and that's now the jingle. Because
I was in a good mood that day.
It
captures
it was
more on
personality.
brand. Yeah, it was more on brand than anything we've ever done.
Yes. So, all right, all that to be said. So this week's news is about us and a thing that we're doing, which is we're talking with Joseph right now about the Avixa Foundation. So, Joseph, maybe a bit of background on who you are, Avixa Foundation, who they are, and what you guys do and all that fun stuff, because we have some kind of specific things that we want to talk about, but I'll let you do a quick intro on that.
Man, so happy to be here. Thank you all for having me. I first-time listener, as they say, but first-time podcaster on the show. So thank you for having me. Really love listening to your show on a regular basis, though, as all jokes aside. You really bring a lot to, I think, our community, and so keep on doing what you're doing. So I can speak for all of Avixa and our trade association that we love hearing your show all the time. Yeah, I'm here representing our industry's trade association, and in particular our charitable foundation. So I'd love, Chris, to kind of break that down for your listeners, just in case maybe they're even not familiar with Avixa. But really the clue is in the name. We're a part trade association organization, and we represent the audiovisual industry overall, the companies that do the work that we do. And we're also a professional society made up of all the professionals like you from all over the world. So in the name, again, the AV reflects our business and what we do. And IX in that name is what we create for customers, those integrated experiences. So as a trade organization, anyone who's listening might think, I'm looking for more professional development. I'm looking to go to a place where I can network with my peers. We do all of those things as the trade organization representing the business. So we see ourselves overall as having a mission to drive market growth for the business. And we do that both for the business through our community-driven trade shows all over the world, but also through professional development for certification and training all over the globe as well. So we're hoping to be, in people's eyes, that one-stop hub for everything that's related to our business.
If Avixa didn't exist, this group probably would not exist. I could pretty
most
much say
likely,
that.
yeah.
We wouldn't.
We wouldn't. There's no way, because we did a lot of prep for presentations for Avixa and Infocom and all those things, and like that whole piece. That's how this whole thing came to be.
I mean,
Mark,
it's
what
a
you're
great
saying is
yeah.
it's
That's how I met
Avixa's
you,
fault.
Joseph.
that
It's
we're all
Avixa's
here
fault
right
you're
now.
hearing
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome.
They
Yeah,
put all of
it
us
is-
together and said, "Go
105
talk."
episodes to get there, and here we are.
But 105 all great ones too, right? So maybe
Yeah,
100.
yeah.
Maybe 5 good ones.
There's 5 good ones and 100 episodes.
Yes.
We'll start tracking this one as the benchmark, maybe, right?
We overlay quantity over quality.
I think, though, to your point overall, Mark, like that's actually a great, I think, consideration for people who are listening, that we're a member-driven, a community organization started by people in our business on day one because they needed a place to meet. They needed to have a meeting of the minds on a regular basis, and they needed support to help grow their business. So the fact that you called out that you all in some fashion have supported the trade organization in some way, whether you're teaching at our trade shows or you're representing our business on a committee as a volunteer, helping to make our standards better, that's all ways that we communicate with everybody out in the world to let them know that we are there, but also that this is a resource for them to help them in their careers.
Absolutely. It takes a village to raise this child.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reason you're here with us today is we reached out and we said that now I can't remember who said it like 8 minutes ago, but we're doing something this week for part.
Yeah, why are we here? What's going on, Chris? What is this about?
Doing podcasting.
Podcast. I gotta get it right. Podcast-thon. I keep on adding extra. It's not podcast.
Not podcast-a-thon. It's podcast.
That'd be too
Podcast-thon.
easy. That makes way too much sense to say
At
that.
podcastthon.org. So basically, what they're doing is they kicked this off last fall, and the idea was we find a charitable endeavor within our own sphere of whatever our podcast is about. We're here to talk about the finer points of internal combustion engines. That's my next show. This one's about audio visual.
Let me get my different notes then.
I'm looking for
different
I thought we were doing accounting and virtualization. That is not at all the show I was on.
This is all about software project management. So hold tight. We're talking Scrum. But anyway, the idea is we find a charitable endeavor we want to highlight. We want to drive people to that, and then all these get shared out among this larger network, so that benefits us as a podcast, that benefits you as an organization, that gets the word out to everybody, and it's a win-win all the way around. So with that said, I think a lot of people who have heard or been involved with Avixa in one way, shape, or form have also heard about the Avixa Foundation, but you have kind of like a very, you're separate, but part of that, you kind of like you do your own thing for a very specific purpose. So could you talk about what the Avixa Foundation's mission is and what you're doing there, as kind of related to the larger Avixa mission, but kind of tangential to it, or however that's, because you're functionally a separate org, I think, right? Legally, right?
Certainly legally, yeah. Happy to talk on that, Chris. Thank you.
For the tax
lawyers
purposes.
in here, yeah.
For the lawyers on the call, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Yes.
Are we going to go through tax law? I just want to make sure.
I could only hope.
Anything you want, just
Yeah.
anything you
Welcome
want.
to Tax Talk.
But what's great about this, I think, Chris, you made a good point on that. We have at Avixa, the trade association, a separate charity, which is entirely mission driven towards providing access to quality skills education in our business, building career pathways into the jobs that are out there, and fostering more and more hands-on experiences to inspire that next generation behind us. And they come in every time the generations change. So what was really cool about this in conception, we're turning 30, which is super exciting too. We're growing up.
Happy birthday, Avixa.
As we almost 30, yeah. As we noted that the people who originally got together to bring Avixa together as a trade association also got together about 30 years ago and said, we see the opportunity here to help support AV education, skills training, getting more people into our business from places that are underrepresented and underestimated. And so that was really how it started as a nonprofit, was let's get together, let's seed a bunch of money to give scholarships out for people in our business to continue their education. Because more than anything, that's the number one thing we've learned about in the AV world, is that constant learning as adults is really what gets us into extended careers, helps us change our careers and be the best AV professionals that we can, right? What's great is that in that 30 years, we've now morphed into a really incredible kind of small but mighty organization. We are, again, attached to Avixa, so that's technically kind of our parent company. So we do everything in reference to the mission that Avixa has for the industry. So that's really, I guess, broken down in three ways. It's about talent recruitment, right? Helping the business find more people. Then talent development, helping them aspire, helping them grow their experience and skill set. And then that acquisition piece at the end of helping them pull into those career openings that are there. So a lot of the programs that we're going to talk about here are kind of related to that, but our real mission there is about providing that access to the next future leaders of our business.
So one thing that I remember being on the board, so that, there's a lot of personal connections to the foundation on this call, and I'll let Mark speak on his too.
Yeah.
Being a part of that was definitely eye-opening, and something that we focused on when I was there was awareness. And I didn't hear you say that word. Are we past awareness? Are we still trying to focus on awareness a little bit, but maybe branch out a little bit more? Because I know the biggest challenge with our industry is that subject awareness.
Yeah, I think that awareness of our business is key right now, as always may be, because we are not a typical program in a 12th grade classroom, right? Mm-hmm. Primarily, that's problem number one, is to Justin's point. And I would say, as long as we can prepare the employers in our business to go out in their communities properly, the awareness will come as a part of those human relationships, like you said, Justin. So awareness will always be a factor in that, but I think it's more about making it a personal connection to someone's career or to their life path that makes that awareness piece kind of click with the individual that hears about the business.
And I think that awareness piece was a target in the K through 12 range. Is that still the focus? And how much have you kind of entered into that arena?
I think that the best way to describe that is by how we try to foster those career paths that we talked about. So there's a wide swath of opportunities for us to jump into in education out there. It really depends on how people want to start and at what age, right, Justin? But I think that what we kept hearing more and more from employers in our business is obviously I need people who know what's going on already. I don't necessarily need them to be super skilled. I can teach them on the job, but I need them to be prepared to come to work. So what we found more and more, even while you were on the board, and thank you again for your service. It's been a tremendous help to get that direction from you all as guides. But really going more through more purposeful partnerships into vocational programs, community organizations that are already preparing people for jobs, who have a sort of an edict from the government potentially, like that is their work that they do, is we find most useful and most outcome driven that we can get into. So when we're able to make relationships via community members like you who can say, hey, where I live, there's this cool organization that's doing this to prep people for education, for kind of technical careers. Those are the people we like to meet. And then sort of on the behalf of the business, we talk to them about ways to get their students engaged with the career.
I remember when I was there, we were like just struggling to get where you're just talking about. Like that was really challenging. I know Mark has a lot of personal relationships with the foundation as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had kind of the pleasure of having several students go through and actually be award recipients, and as part of the scholarship program, and they've come from various walks of life, and it's amazing. And you speak to the awareness of the business, and maybe folks don't necessarily realize that AV businesses are businesses too. And maybe it's not necessarily about running cable terminating and putting black boxes in racks and things like that, that there actually are other business functions that are happening. And we've had several students come from business majors in different engineering backgrounds. They weren't necessarily AV students, but they went and got exposure to the AV industry in those businesses and went on and like from marketing and things like that. And all those aspects are part of this game. And I think understanding that you can come and be a part of an AV organization through a university that's doing install and integration, get exposure, but then have that knowledge to go out and have a different level of success in a different business that is AV maybe adjacent, but having that awareness overall has made those students incredibly valuable and employable out into the real world because they know how these things work. They become very good critical thinkers. They see things systematically, but then they may have a business design element. They're going to come in and they have all that awareness. So I think it's allowed people to have a broader perspective of the AV business where it may be not the thing we recognize initially. And I think that's super important as well. And like people often maybe lose sight of that part of it.
Yeah. And even when they do hear about it, Mark, I think it's the question of how can I help, right? How do I even let people know that this exists? So I want to make it clear that I think because our mission can sound a little broad, it's actually fairly focused on, we're not a recruitment firm. We don't have the capabilities. You're looking at really the person who's in charge here, working with people like Justin on our board who help guide our mission when they're able to do that. So really what it's more about for us, we believe more than anything now, is using Avixa's resources, which are plentiful, the resources we have like you who are a community, and building resources for you to be in your own communities, if that makes sense. So as opposed to us being out there recruiting like the military, which really has it down pretty well, we could do that and spend billions of dollars building physical infrastructure. But why not make it easier for you all to talk to those students that you already know, Mark, show them that you could be a salesperson, that you could work in marketing and business for any of the firms out there, and that a majority of students at the local high school who might be in some form or, sort of a related STEM area could completely open their eyes to the fact that I can do my hobby, make really good money, and do it in many different ways throughout my career. Yep. So we believe, therefore, that like fostering those career paths with your help, but then also providing the business with resources to tell their story is really our mission.
I think reducing those barriers to entry, right? I think in the AV industry, people often it's this mythical, like, how do I get in? And we see posts about it all the time on all this stuff. I want to get into AV. How do you do it? It's like, you just do it.
I've got to learn programming.
Yeah, it's like Avixa has those resources, and I think as a resource for that to be able to get in and get your feet wet and start actually making like contribution to different businesses or even yourself, like it's there. Like the path is easy. That you don't have to go through all these weird certifications and spend years and years and years and years behind a desk and a book. Like you can go do this. Like it is an approachable industry. And I think Avix has taken great strides to actually clarify that and provide those resources for anybody at any point in their career to go get involved.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, again, we want to be the AV source of knowledge, right? We want to be the knowledge for our business outside of course, the specifics that you all use on equipment and things for those manufacturers. But we want to be able to foster that relationship with other peer associations, other technology manager groups, whatever that may be. We'd love to make those relationships deeper so that way they can put their people onto our business, right? We believe that like any sort of nonprofit world, for those out there that give in their community to their local food bank and things, it's sort of similar in that we do well when our community helps us. And so we see that as our real key metric for success, is that we can help foster the creation of those career paths by giving those resources to our industry. And by funding it too, which I know we'll get to, Chris.
Right. Yeah. So Chris, I mean, we mentioned this podcast-thon. We have a little bit of background on Avix. So people want to, what are we doing here? Why, how are we going to make these two trains line up? What's happening?
Well, and the first place I want to go with this is, and Joseph, you just kind of led into it there, was those resources that are available for people to kind of build this as a career path. You have several, scholarships, for lack of a better term, or I guess they're just called scholarships. To encourage that level of additional study into various fields, or for people who are going to go into that field after college, or even for those in high school going into college. What does that look like? Talk about this, because there's different types of scholarships for different programs and whatnot. So let's talk about some of those.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we're really proud that since the inception of the foundation, we've given over $800,000 to people who are studying our business in some form, right? Where they're taking higher education to better their career. So we're very proud of that. We will continue to do that for a very, very long time to come. Right now, we're actually kind of under review of what the impact of kind of a scholarship would be overall, Chris. But in the past, what we've done is help people essentially directly fund their higher education learning cycle. So they've come to us during different times of year. We've had open applications that you can find on our website when we're ready to do that. And it goes directly into their tuition. So those of people in the world who are paying for their school, it's been very beneficial to those folks. And we're very proud of the people who've come out of those programs to become incredible AV professionals, getting CTSs, getting CTSDs very quickly, whatever that may be. We just had a beautiful story of one of our scholarship winners who just did the remodel of the Notre Dame Cathedral with an audio division of a firm that helped basically map out the old building as it was based on drawings and things before the fire. And she was a scholarship winner here. Her name is Sarah Beth Mullins. So we're super proud of people like Sarah who've come through that for that very reason. We also know, Chris, that this is a global business, a global industry. We want to make sure that community is touched as well in that way. And so because a lot of people around the world don't exactly also pay for school, depending on where they live and what region, we also have set up an impact fund where we will use money to benefit community organizations, people studying different things in the world as far as tangential career paths, or people who just need a leg up to help make a benefit to their society and their people and their community. So that's something that we've launched last year called the Brad Souza Impact Fund, which we're very, very also proud to launch here. It offers financial grants to people, social programs, and partner organizations out in the world related to our business, who are going to be utilizing AV technology and digital transformation to basically create change in the world. So last year we raised about $120,000 thanks to AVI Systems, who was the employer of Brad Souza. If anybody knew him, he was an incredible, passionate individual in our business. And so they and many, many peers and manufacturers and other business owners that we know, of course, on this call, were instrumental in helping us seed that fund. So we're very excited this year, very excited to announce on this podcast that our applications are open right now for people to refer us, organizations who are looking for that kind of funding. We're so excited to be able to give that money away now and make it a lasting impact in our business. So for those viewers and listeners, it's going to be avixa.org/impact. So hopefully very easy to remember. Take you right there, learn a lot about Brad and his legacy. And really the thing that he always used to say, I'll end on this, is that impact is more important than having influence. And so we believe that with the Avixa Foundation as a charity, with our community that we have here on the call and your listeners, we can create that impact together by referring organizations, programs, artists, people who are looking for that funding. So definitely send those applications to people who are looking for that, and we're happy to offer that funding.
So to the point about funding, you had mentioned you have a lot of very generous corporate donors. Is there a way that individuals can get involved, or can I volunteer? Or how do I get involved with the Avixa Foundation to either I want to donate to it, or I want to volunteer, or I want to help out with some of these programs, because these are all fantastic. I can only pick one, but there's other people on this call who can also help. Hint, hint. Jerks.
Where can I put my money? Where can I send it?
How do we get involved in that?
Yeah, well, a good way to remember that, I like to say, is you want to talk about time, talent, and treasure, right? So anybody interested in sort of speaking to people in their community and being part of that impact, using the resources like our apprenticeship framework, which is great for employers to start work apprenticeships, or starting a tech crew at their local high school, their local K-12. We've got a great program guide to start your own tech crew to help kids get hands-on in K-12. That's the first way. It's your time. It's very valuable to you. Everyone's world is on fire right now, trying to make sense of things. So what better way than just use some of the resources we have and go talk to those students at that local community center or something if they're interested. Then I think as far as talent, that's where you can help us be a catalyst for those relationships. So whether it's your community college that you may be associated with, whether it's your employer, whether it's, again, a community organization, you can reach out to us at foundation@avixa.org, or directly to me, of course, and our team here at Avixa all over the world, and they can connect us to build those pathways more directly. And then certainly, yes, if everyone's super honest and generous about giving, we have a donation link on our site as well. So it can go to our general fund. As I mentioned, the Brad Souza Fund itself has a specific donation page there, but avixa.org/foundation is where you can kind of find all of that information. And that feeds into all of the charitable programs that we do on behalf of Avixa. So whether that's, again, building partnerships with organizations like the Loop Lab in Boston, so their students can come out of an underrepresented community into our business, or whether that's partnering with the HETMA, the Higher Ed Tech Managers Association in the United States, to help more people come to the Infocom show and earn a scholarship to get their CTS, or again, frankly, just donating our dollars to help the Brad Impact Fund. Either way will be super beneficial, just to have our community support us.
What's your favorite? I got to ask.
My favorite
the
color?
favorite program of all the things. Yeah, your favorite. Yeah.
My favorite color is blue.
The favorite program that you guys are, because you're doing so much. What's the one you really, really enjoy working on?
Well, I keep harping on it, but I think if anybody can help us really support this new Brad Souza Impact Fund, it's really close to my heart. Many of our board members worked with Brad on the board at AVI Systems. If any of you have worked with them at your institutions, he was an instrumental person to building a new esports community in the United States. Really, he even had a goal. His son told us after his passing that he was still dedicated to even starting a school like this when he retired in a couple years. So to me, again, to help with that legacy and continue that profound work that he started, avixa.org/impact, whether it's, again, time, talent, or donating to our fund. We're mostly looking for application referrals right now. Send us that nonprofit in your backyard. We'd love to get them in front of our board in an application and give them some money, hopefully.
Awesome.
Capturing all these links right now. You are just rattling
Chris is
them
just
off.
feverishly
get on it.
typing them all out into the notes. I see him going over there.
We'll make sure you have those so your listeners can directly click on them.
Just remember impact. That's the important word.
I got that one.
Yeah.
Try to capture all the rest of them. All right.
All right, Chris, you got it? Got it all marked up in the notes? Almost there?
We'll figure out the rest of it later.
We're close.
We're close. So, yeah, we'll drop those links for people listening right now while you're driving. Just stop right now. Stop in the middle of the highway.
Pull over and click
do it while you're driving.
While
you're doing it.
No.
Do you have
be
knees?
Larry. interacting with your phone while you're driving. Before the show, Larry was complaining about how many notifications and how he responds to them all while he's driving. So
Timely.
You know,
But he only
I
uses
don't want to
three
make
of his
people
thumbs.
wait.
I don't want people to wait. I appreciate your thoughtfulness there, Larry. No, this has been great. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for people to get involved from the larger AV community or maybe some tangential communities and come to drive towards what the Avixa Foundation is doing. I guess before we close out, any last thoughts from anybody else here as far as like your thoughts on Avixa Foundation or how people can get involved or your just general take on our discussion? Justin, you're waving your hand.
There's lots of avenues that they have put out in front of us. Use them. Go be active. Stop complaining about stuff about you can't find people to work in the industry and go do something about it.
Yeah, you use the avenues and make an impact.
Yeah.
Do it. We'll wait.
Seriously.
We'll be here.
We're waiting.
Everyone go hire 3 people right now.
No,
Hey,
that-
that's
those
on my
three
list
people
of things to do this week.
take
actually,
action.
Yeah.
And be the world you want to live in. Right. Go do it. Like this is the opportunity to change it. If you don't have access to quality people, this is a way to
And if you don't
create
know how
and
to
scale
start,
those folks up, and you need somewhere to begin. Avix has all those resources as well. Dive in. The future is yours.
if you don't know where to start, just ask Joseph. I'm sure he can provide all kinds of opportunities for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so to that end, Joseph, how do people get a hold of you or get a hold of the foundation? I mean, we can just go to the website, but are there other
avenues.
what's the word? Avenues. Thank you.
Vectors.
That Justin just said. Other vectors.
Boulevards.
yeah, we've covered all the bases, Chris. We are on, of course, all the social medias under Avixa and, of course, the Avixa Foundation. You can find us there and chat or send us information about an organization you want us to know about. We're on Avixa Exchange, which is a great online community for the whole business out there globally. If anybody isn't a part of that, definitely you can jump on there for free and talk to us there. We'll be posting a lot of our resources there for free, of course, so you don't have to find them on a specific website. So exchange.avixa.org is a great, beautiful, widespread community we've launched a couple years ago. So you can find a lot of that there. And just walk up to us at Infocom or ISE or any other show we'll be doing. I'll be there helping do that. But I think I'm really glad that we had this opportunity. I'm always grateful for folks like you, Mark, Justin, everybody on the call here to not only be here to speak with you and your listeners, but knowing that this is really we're all technology companies in the people business. And I think what Brad said was that human impact is at the end of the day where people and technology meet. And so that's really what we're talking about. So we're really proud to carry on this mission for Avixa and for you all in the industry. So we're a call away or at foundation@avixa.org. And as I said, on all those socials. So you can find us in a lot of different ways.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, Joseph.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
The AV Super Friends are sponsored by Computer Comforts Incorporated. CCI has been building tech furniture for the education market since 1987. Instructor lecterns, computer lab tables, collaborative tables, and active learning clusters are just a few of the many innovative products made by CCI. Speaking of lecterns, Computer Comforts has just released Evolve. If you're looking to future-proof your classroom, Evolve is the Swiss Army knife of lecterns. Seriously, this flexible lectern does it all. Not only is Evolve sit-to-stand and ADA compliant, it's also packed with tech-friendly features. And the best part, it ships fully assembled and ready for action. Check out the 90-second video to see all the options. Visit computercomforts.com/evolve. All right, so for our second topic today, or I guess no, it's our first topic, right? Because it was news. It was news-ish discussion with Joseph. It was good.
Yeah, it was nice.
We want to talk about professional development, but Larry, you raised this I think you phrased it as, "Are we doing anything?" Don't look surprised. You're the one who brought it up.
That was last week,
sir.
man.
Yeah, that was forever ago.
Yeah,
I kind of agree. We're in a different
I write
time
this
zone now. Like everything's shifted. We've set
I
clocks
write this
forward.
stuff
Like
down and it becomes a
everything
topic. That's
before
how this
Sunday
works.
is not relevant.
And Larry,
I
think the way
say
you phrased
things,
it,
and once they're out, they don't matter anymore.
That's my thing, man.
When they start to matter, Larry.
but I think you phrased it as, "Are we doing anything for professional development, or I think you said training? Are we doing any sort of training for our internal teams? Is there anything new we're looking at? Any sort of new, course materials or online courses or something like that, or new things we're doing? And I think it's a good topic to discuss from the standpoint of, we just talked with Joseph about all the opportunities out there for building your own kind of education to get into AV, and then Avixa being kind of the standards body for maintaining your knowledge base. So what are we doing with our internal teams, this summer, or is it a continuous thing, or what are we doing with that to make sure that we're all kind of maintaining that level of development and knowledge with regards to all the fun stuff we have to know?
All the stuffs. What do you think?
I remember
Anybody
why I
wanna
asked
jump on
this now,
first? Yeah.
too.
Do you have something, Larry? Is there something specific?
Well, why did you ask?
Yeah, why did you ask, Larry? What the
Give
heck?
us some context.
The reason is I have my yearly reviews coming up, and I have to come up with new goals
Not
for
good enough.
everybody.
Not good enough to put in here.
Your answer from us, because you didn't
At least
know
you're being
what you were
honest,
gonna-
yeah.
You're not prepared. is what-
Oh, this is
It's not that
preparing.
he's
They're
not
not doing
prepared. He
that.
just wants to make sure he's leaving no leaf unturned and make sure there's nothing like low-hanging fruit out there, so to speak.
He wants to know which ones suck really bad for that one employee.
Okay.
If I was having these conversations after the fact, then I wouldn't be prepared. No, I'm okay.
Was there anything?
And
was
I
there,
do have.
Yeah. What's one thing that you're
Well, I do
curious
have
about?
some of my full-time employees who are going through ServiceNow training. I've been working with our network team on campus. They're going to provide some Juniper training for how they do things, and I'm doing that primarily just so we can speak the same language. Just so when I go and ask for things, I'm not using the wrong word and just immediately getting the door
Never
shut.
use the wrong word when you're dealing with like a core network department, because then you're like,
No.
we can't trust these guys.
Can you give me
Get 'em off the
5
network.
VLANs?
They don't know the difference between layer 1, layer 2. What are we doing?
I need all the trunks.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the two easy ones that I saw. Yeah, those are some things that can help my team. But I've noticed neither of those are really AV focused. And I'm curious what you all were doing. Like, are you
See-
going wide or deep?
Maybe. So I'm glad you broke the ice with that, Larry, because mine is terrible. And I was like, these guys are going to hate this. And
All right, shut his mic off.
you guys already
Before
know.
he
Yeah,
says
just-
it, shut
just
it
skip,
off.
Skip my whole segment.
Stop
'cause
it.
It's non-AV focus. I think we had this new reemergence. It's like we're
If
doing
he
like
says Microsoft, if he says
Oh,
Microsoft,
that's the kind of crap we're doing, though.
Stop
Like, it's all about like
gonna use
data
the word
structure
endpoint.
and yeah. I'm not gonna use it. No, but because we're looking at cloud services and how our stuff aligns with it. So we are doing a lot more security stuff. We're talking about the data piece of what we're doing on the back end. How does it align, and how we structure a lot of the stuff. And then we're also like, how do we align it so we can make use of all the hot topic trends that are going on? I'm not going to say it, but how do you do it, right? And so what does that mean to your networks, your back end pieces, and how does it get into the cloud to play with those things? And we are looking at trainings around that, and it's not classically AV aligned. It's more bigger IT focused, but I think it's time we look at that and take that approach. We've done a lot over the years to kind of get to this point where it's like, okay, let's broaden that perspective a little bit and learn, just kind of like Larry is. Like we're doing things that are maybe not classical training opportunities, but I think they're really valuable skill sets for a lot of folks. And some they're not formalized in any trade show or anything like that. A lot of it's self-paced and kind of micro-credentialing, but it's good because I think it is changing the lexicon and kind of our awareness of kind of the larger IT sphere.
no, I agree with that. I'm giving you shit about that.
I didn't say any of the common shit that comes out of my mouth with that one. So just
And
give
I'm
me
with
give me the points.
Lexicon was one of those things that
I was on the edge.
yeah.
That
You
was
were there.
Sorry. Yeah.
Just
I-
booking it, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm in Larry's camp too. Most of my staff, I'm still playing catch up on some of our fundamental trainings and things, and trying to get them in the AV topics. But I'm quickly transitioning to. I mean, he said Juniper. I mean, we're Cisco, but to look at the micro credentials for what's the basic layer of understanding how Cisco networks work, because they're hearing all of the AV jargon. With as it comes to networking, of multicast and VLANs, but what does that mean when you start to your guys, both of your points of if you use the wrong word, if you say VLAN then they think you're supposed to say segments, then you're automatically a dipshit. And
I just use subnet everywhere. That's
More subnets.
just more. I'd like to put it on. if I do, I have to use 10 or can I use 11 dot?
Totally different. This is an 11 dot
just
network,
making
guys.
shit
So
up.
yeah,
I moved all my stuff to 9 dot. It's great. There's nobody
so
down
much
there.
faster.
Why?
All of our
I saved so many bytes.
priority seating going to the
extra
9.
character.
Yeah.
God. But I have to use 2 leading zeros. 009. But I mean, I want them to be, when they get into those conversations and we are troubleshooting because we put everything on the enterprise network, I want them to be able to dive into the right discussion as quickly as they can. They may not know how to actually implement anything. They may not know how it really works, but they've at least reached some sort of understanding of, okay, this is where we're looking, and you're not just making crap up or regurgitating whatever training of the week you just attended from one of our AV companies.
That's actually, from both you guys, that's a really interesting perspective to say, like, let's just do kind of a basic network training for the AV team so that they have some common language. We're all on the same page there. They don't have to be network engineers or network experts or network specialists. They're just like, this is just so we're all, on the same page, speaking the same language and using the right terms, which, to your point about, the networking folks, they hate when people use the wrong terms, just like we do. But they also, that eliminates any misunderstandings if we're talking about a network segment, a network VLAN, a network subnet. It's like, if I have someone on the phone
prepared
with
for
them,
those conversations. You can't
right,
just
and if I have
walk in
someone
there
on the phone
willy-nilly.
like, we're having trouble, we're on wrong subnet, and they're like, what the hell? You only have what are you talking about? Yeah,
First
it's
off,
done
why are you
internally.
calling me?
So, but then to do the same thing with the network team for AV and explain, why do I have 5,000 networked endpoints? Do I need that? What are we doing? It's not because it's fun to run 2 cables to a device. There's reasons we're doing this stuff. There's reasons we have certain switches spec. There's reasons we need, an additional layer of help and support at times of some of these things. And it's not because we're just yanking your chain or we're wasting your day. When we're calling about a traffic management problem, there's probably something we've done, and we wanted to make sure you understood that we've done a good amount of troubleshooting before we've gotten to that point. You're not like, oh, we have a problem with the Dante in that room? Call networking. But it's like we've spent an hour or two. Now we're trying to engage with the networking, having done all this other work. And I think that's important for both sides to understand. So this is a fantastic idea that I'm definitely going to implement.
I think it also tells them that we are not just blaming them. This is not a finger pointing exercise. This is hey, we're in this together. Help me out because I've reached my end of knowledge. Yeah, that's on. It's not this year, but that's on my short list, Larry. So I kind of agree with that. Yeah,
It is. It's a real thing. I mean, it's weird to hear a bunch of AV, quote unquote AV folks not talk about mystery black boxes and actually dive into like best practices of network architecture. So it's a brave new world we're embarking in here. So, no. Justin, what do you
train my team on this black box that I have?
Because
mystery
this black box.
Look, that's the start of the VGA sunrise. I mean, we've been predicting it for a long time, but that black box, that's the start.
2013.
It's
That's when
back.
it came out.
What year is it?
When it started. The sunset was 2013.
I am looking for a good training on PTP. If anybody has one of those they're looking for, let me.
Sorry.
You'll know when you get there and you need it. Check back in. Yeah.
Nothing. There's
I
nobody.
just click the box that says master class. Yes.
I'm not even convinced that the people who created it know what they created.
Aha.
It just kind of showed up.
It's just kind of like, hey, it worked.
Well, they know the people that created it knew what they were doing. The people that create switches need to figure out how to manage it better.
Yeah, that's a personal training, not my staff training.
Yeah.
It's the thing. Brave new world. All right. So, Chris, Justin, anything specific you have staff focusing on?
Yes.
What
So
Care to
I
share
can't really
with the group?
control WKU staff because
But you can make recommendations.
How do you influence them? What is it that you
we
provide?
always recommend and influence, but we're broke, so we're not going to travel. They do online trainings. I'm sure they're fine. But I am sending one of my employees to Infocom to get their CTS from the business.
Is that employee named Justin Perexing?
No,
Okay.
that's Alex.
No.
It's actually
It's
a person.
Just sell anybody
It's
out.
a real
I get you.
person.
I got you. I
It's
believe
a
you.
real.
He's real. He has tax receipts and
Real
everything.
person.
I can totally prove it.
Not
On that
Pinocchio
note,
type
does
shit here.
anybody use going to get your CTS exam as like an incentive? Like when you're ready to take it, I will
know
send
you did.
you.
I know
I
you
have-
did, sir.
Are you pointing at me?
I keep floating that idea out to my staff. I'm like, you need to kind of show me that you're ready to go. And if you want to go to Infocom to do it, if you want to, but it's an incentive. It's like, I will take you to Infocom, and then you get to go see all the show and everything else, but you got to have
when
your
you're
test.
ready.
You have
You
to
should
pass
take them
the
there.
test.
If you got to take the test day one. If they fail, we're going
I
home.
don't tell them they have
We're
to.
going home right now. Cancel.
I will turn
No.
this car around right now.
Yeah, I don't
I
do
bought you
that.
2 return plane tickets.
They,
Which one
One
you
for Friday,
use?
one for Monday, or whatever.
I've told
Don't
them, I'm
unpack.
like, we're taking the
Oh, and I
test,
was like,
and you're passing. See, there's the thing. I'm not sending you there just to party.
We're
And
signing you up for 2 tests.
Jamie, that is an interesting kind of like threshold or something there, like to show that they're serious about going. So
I do, because sometimes they're like, you can go down to the local Pearson Center and take
It's not
this
fun to
test,
take
and
it
it's like, who cares? But now you can say, well, how come you always get to? Well, look, here's the deal. And if you take it day one, all of the courses you take for the rest of the week are all RUs. And you basically
Extra
knock out
value.
your next
Extra
RU
value.
for the next thing.
are you willing to send?
I
them
don't
to
have a
prep
ton of
class and then
travel
they take it
expenditure
day
either, but-
4? They class day 1.
Oh, you're talking prep class and then going?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you take the test.
And
That's
I'm
what you're
okay with
supposed
that
to do.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fresh.
I just want them
Yeah, you
to
don't-
like express that interest. I want them to say, you know, I'm serious. I want to do this. I know I can pass this thing, or I can go to this class, take a crash course, and I've got this.
Now,
You know, hey
just
boss,
remember though, in all seriousness, some people get like test nervousness.
they get
and
testing
they just-
guide. Look, I'm
You
not-
can't
I'm
tell
not
them like
biased
you
about
have to
it.
pass. Be like, if you don't,
No,
Then-
they have to pass.
I want
Larry stands
They
outside
kinda-
the testing room like this, just waiting. Like
My respect for
for-
you will go down if you do not pass this.
I tell them that there's almost like a Jamie pretest. Like, you're gonna prove to me that you're ready for this.
That's the worst one, that pretest. from
Don't
Jamie.
just
The
tell
entire
me
flight,
that
you're just sitting next to him.
oh
quizzing
yeah,
him.
just
you're
next
just
to him.
grilling them. What's the 7th word on page 472?
And
What's
project
the
management.
appropriate contrast ratio for film? What's the color temperature for video
Furnace viewer.
conferencing?
You got to root me. It's this deep. What is it?
But
hey,
but you know,
that's
like
on the
Justin
test.
was saying,
Color
he was going to
temperature.
send them. I was just curious. Is anybody else use that as an incentive?
No, but I am now. That's a fantastic idea.
You've set the
like-
precedent, so now we have to.
like a threat or
Kind of.
Incentive. Incentive.
Incentive. It's
Jamie,
opportunity.
you're
Stick,
positive.
carrot, it's kind of the same.
For those
Well,
of you
there's
who
a
are
stick following it. There's a
Yes,
And
my
info
carrot is
comes-
tied to the stick. So it's
and info
it's
comes.
just a big carrot. You can just beat people.
It's right there around the end of performance review and your merit raise. So you fail, you pour.
Yeah, you have no questions then.
are you
Complete
failing to get
transparency.
fired now? You're firing everybody that fails.
No, they're
If
not
that's
fired.
what it takes,
They're
Justin.
just
If that's what it takes to get this stuff right.
It's an incentive.
they
Justin.
remain
Stand by my
poor.
word. Yeah.
Your definition of incentive is different than mine.
Do you like your paycheck? Because if so, wow. All right.
That's the Chris method.
So I could just say real quick, as far as my team, what we've decided to start doing, and we've not implemented it yet, probably starting next month, but it's kind of an interesting concept. Is I've been encouraging everybody to make sure you're spending an hour or two a week, up to 10% of your time, and I have that listed every time, 10% of your time on professional development, because it's important. That's where we are. We, the 5 of us, are all where we are is because of our own internal drive towards professional development, learning new things and messing with software, setting up some gear, whatever it is, or taking a training course. It's all legit. But as I'm sure many of you have, especially with your staff, that can be a challenge because there's a lot of stuff to do and it will eat up that time, and suddenly everyone's out of time and they don't, it's just a challenge. It's a tough thing to do.
Parkinson's
So
law.
what we're going to do is, as a group, we're going to pick a course, a webinar, a training course, whatever it is, as a group, and go through those every other Friday, just towards the end of the week, end of the day. Spend an hour or so doing that as a group because it provides some self accountability. It provides some group reinforcement, and ensures that we're all keeping each other honest by actively participating in this. And then as a team, it benefits everybody because we're all learning something. And so, a lot of them have expressed interest in doing working towards their Avixa CTS. And it's interesting because I have people who've been doing AV for 10 or 15 years on the team who will be already that, and people who are, 3 or 4 years in, so they're kind of at the entry level. And it'll be an interesting kind of dichotomy there to see the different perspectives, but they're all working towards a common goal. I didn't think about the Infocom thing, so we're a little late for that. But we do have a testing center on campus. They can all go over and take the test. And I have threatened to stand there and, like, if they don't pass, I'll hand them their final check.
Beat them with a ruler, like in
So
Catholic school.
at these group training things,
brutal.
do you bring snacks and let them have like little pillows and blankets and
Pillows.
I mean, is it
Well,
like
that's a
like
bridge too far,
kindergarten
but
presentation?
the snacks is not a bad idea because I hold staff meetings
catered.
once a month for everybody, all the full-timers and students, and I provide, it is catered. I provide food. It's pizza every time. So
Pizza's not
Pizza every time. We provide food as long as it's pizza. You're good.
one of the questions, so I do a pre-meeting like poll that I put out, to ask them, it's a temperature check, but ask them about a couple things we're doing. One of the questions is, because a number of people have grumbled, why do we always have pizza? And I said, I will buy whatever you guys want for food for these
You
meetings.
probably
but
buy
what do
them
you
Little
want?
Caesars, don't you?
And the vast majority
Casey's.
of respondents is pizza, like by far. Students
It's the
love
least
pizza.
Kind
controversial.
of pizza.
It's,
He has a
Pineapple.
Chicago-style deep dish truck day.
Like,
it's all thin crust, no cheese, no sauce. It's just a cracker. That's what you
yeah,
get.
he's going by
Hardtack.
Totino's and throwing in pizzas in his oven and bringing it in the
In
work.
other places of the country, they call that a charcuterie board.
But without any of the charcuterie. So it's just the board.
You said no sauce, no cheese. That means you can have meat. It's Wyoming.
No
You've
meat.
got to
I said
have
cheese.
meat.
I said cheese pizza.
Okay.
Oh.
That implies.
From CC's. I bet.
So anyway,
I
here's-
kinda-
we're
I
working
kind of like
towards
that idea
because-
too, though. I like that. Have some snacks, get together, have a common goal. Everybody learn the same thing.
It's a team building exercise. Everyone's coming up to speed on it, and then they can
Rising
support
tide
each
lifts
other.
all
So-
boats.
Yeah, absolutely. And when someone says, "Hey, that thing I'm having trouble in this Biamp or in QSys or Crestron or whatever software we're messing with at the time, maybe they have people they can go ask because they all went through the same course." So that's the concept, anyway.
Shared misery. I love it.
We'll see how it goes, but everyone
should be
seems
cool.
positive on the concept, so that's the plan.
I mean, that's how we all.
So there you
feel.
go, professional development.
Okay. Cool.
All right, well, let's take a quick
take a
break.
break.
We're going to come back, and we're going to talk with a very special guest who I think is going to reclaim his crown as the most featured guest on this
Or
and
something.
any other AVSF-related podcast type thing of sorts,
Right. All right.
something like that. Are you looking to really improve your AV integration skills? On your next project, why not try independent amalgamated challenge cables? That's right, challenge cables. Why buy a standard cable and an adapter to put on 1, 2, or all 3 ends when you can use challenge cables? We've taken the most common connections you use on nearly every AV project and combined them into a single cable. HDMI to RJ45, XLR to IEC, and our super popular 5-pin captive screw Phoenix to composite video. Unlike our competitors, independent amalgamated challenge cables don't perform any of the conversions between protocols, so your signal stays just as it was when connected at the source. If you can integrate 6 of these cables in a single project and not get so angry you break something, we'll double your warranty. Independent amalgamated challenge cables. Good luck with that. So for our final segment today, we're joined by a good friend of the show who Mark just pointed out a moment ago is now back in the lead of our guest with the number of the
Appearances.
most
Most
number of
AVSF
on
appearances.
any sort of AV Super Friends related content thing.
He's
Yeah,
laughing
was-
several folks.
That was a really long award.
That's a long award.
4
Yeah.
or 5
That's how it's
now.
written on the trophy.
Well,
It's 2 trophies. Put them side by
Lyle's
side.
now going to be reaching out to
Yeah,
us
we got
and trying
people
to
are going
get
to be
back on the
upset
show.
now. So
Ra-
to that
Raul
end,
from
because
Oklahoma
we are
State.
going to do a proper introduction. We're going to hit this button.
Oh, here we go.
So stupid.
Why not? This is the whole point of it. So, all right, let's say hello to a Dynamics metrics planner from Corvallis, Oregon, Mr. Raul Burial.
That's one title I didn't have until right now.
Oh, are these new
You're going to have
titles?
to print business cards right now. So change them.
No, just
lining
one
them up.
title. That's it.
The metrics
All
was
right,
like a
from
Canadian
earlier?
play thing, I think. That's what I remember.
Are you using a different one?
I'm just here because that means I get to be murdered on your next Halloween show.
Murder.
Yes, maybe. That could
Oh,
We're signing people up early. He wants to get in there. All right. So, Raul, you are here as the president and chief muckety muck of the Northwest.
President.
All things important and dangerous
Yes,
for
the
NWO.
Chief
We don't
paper
actually-
shuffler.
What is it?
Dude
Yeah, what-
in charge of the Northwest Managers for Educational Technology. Did I get that right?
Um,
Managers
Oklahoma
of?
State.
President for life.
how that
After a
works?
successful coup,
President until someone else is willing to volunteer for the position of the Northwest Managers of
Is that all
Educational
it takes?
Technology.
You just volunteer and you become president?
Don't
Careful,
do it,
Justin.
Justin.
Careful,
well, to be fair, Justin,
Are
you
you
have to
volunteering?
Yeah, you have to stand
There
for
you
election
go.
against
No.
Raul, and he is a
For
powerful
one.
figure in that organization.
Not right
a
now.
lot of lobbyists back in Raul's office
Yep.
right now.
He has a
Yes.
whole junta.
I can barely manage my life right now, so I don't
So
need
they, and that is how I become the de facto president. Yes.
Yeah.
And Raul, I almost spoiled some solid show content, so we'll ask it right now. Preferred pronunciation of the acronym NWMET, NWMET, Northwest Met. What's your go-to?
Oh, well, per policy, the first time you mention it, it's
Oh.
Northwest Met. And after that, you can call it NWMET. But
Oh.
Northwest Met seems to be shorter, so let's go with that.
He brought out the policy book.
There's
It's
a
official.
policy.
Yeah, there's policy around this. Yeah, we were wrong the
You're
whole
saying
time.
this
Okay.
has come up enough that you were like, no, we're gonna
Let's go into the
we're gonna do
bylaws.
this
Oh,
right.
yeah, no, which
Oh, this
becomes,
is black and white now.
Yeah.
it's official edict because I put it on Twitter.
It's an edict.
Oh, nice.
So,
All right.
for those who do not know what this NWMET, Northwest Met is, Raul,
So we're an
What are we?
organization of AV and IT professionals in higher education. Our membership actually spans most of North America. We have members from all over. While our name implies that we're from the Northwest, what happens is we tend to have our conferences in the Northwest, but we do have attendees from all over the United States and Canada, and maybe one day even internationally. I welcome
Canada's
it.
international.
would be
Canada is
international.
international.
Right now, as of today.
I know. It's obvious you spend some time on Twitter because you're a little confused.
Raul, as a Canadian, you're saying that doesn't count, or what's happening?
I don't involve myself in politics.
You just did.
that's the right answer, sir.
All right. So, other than Canada, international.
Yes, other than Canada, international. We are hosting our annual conference in Boise, Idaho. Boise State is actually our host institution this year, and currently we have registrants from 17 different states from across the country, the United States. And I think looking at our number of registrants, our number of sessions, and our number of exhibitors, which is over 50, we may be the global conference for AV and IT and higher ed, which is really weird to say, but I welcome it. It's a fun conference. You've all been there, and I've appreciated your participation. Thank you, guys. You guys were great. Thank you, and I expect that some or all of you will be there in Boise again this year at the end of April.
There'll be a presence.
I think our hosts, Zane and Erica at Boise State, have done a fantastic job of organizing a conference, and I'm really excited to see how it all comes together.
It's always a good time, and I think a lot of folks who attended, even for the first time, are like, wow, that was an incredible amount of substance and like really good deep dive conversation, and it always surpasses the expectations. And that's kind of what I've always heard from feedback. People like, I didn't expect it to be such an engaging conference for just being this quote unquote smaller conference, but it always, people are always amazed. They always have really, really positive feedback. So I'm always looking forward to diving with the folks there, because it's always fun to get that perspective from those first timers, because like, I didn't know how have you guys been doing this for so long, and this is the first I've heard of it. So always a good time.
Yeah, people have commented on how fun it is. We first timers tend to come back because they do seem to get a lot out of it. We tend to stay in the Northwest region simply because that is our home region. But we travel largely from small town to small town in the Northwest annually. We host in different cities every year, and the feedback we get is that people really appreciate that. They don't. We get a lot of attendees from institutions that don't have the budget or the stamina to attend conferences like Infocom or
too far,
NAB.
right. Yeah.
And
That's
the
true.
fact that we are focused in on the education vertical, I think is a much greater benefit. Like if you're going down to Infocom or NAB and having conversations about education with folks from, say, Sony or NEC or Panasonic, you may not be talking to someone who is very familiar with that vertical. When you come to Northwest Met, when you come to the NWE Met conference, you are talking to people who are working in that vertical. So I think you get a lot more from attending the NWE Met conference than you do from going to Infocom or NAB.
I was also really impressed. Like last year was the first time I'd been, right? And I really enjoyed that you guys also you stretch your day to take care of the off times networking as well. So we have meals together, and you now are comparing notes with your fellow brethren in higher ed tech, and it's not just, hey, here's the session, now go do whatever you're going to do tonight, good luck, see you later. I really appreciate that, because that was the time where you sat down at a table with somebody you didn't know that was from somewhere else, and you got to talk shop.
Absolutely. I've always said that you get the most out of a conference in the hallways and not necessarily in the sessions. We do have over 30 sessions. We do have over more than 30 sessions at the conference this year. There's going to be content for everyone there, but the fact of the matter is you're going to be having breakfast, lunch, and dinner and cocktails and everything else with all the other attendees there, and you're going to be coming away with a number of contacts. When I need help dealing with a specific product, whether it's hardware or software, I know that I can reach out to other people in the community and ask for their feedback, their advice, their best practices, because I've met those people at the Northwest Met conference, and they've told me that they use that product. This is where we first met, say, folks like at Epiphan. And we now have a great relationship with them, so we can reach out directly to folks at Epiphan, or we can talk to folks who use Epiphan products because we've had experience with them. And in fact, we've recommended them to other institutions who have done very large Epiphan rollouts, and we trade notes, we commiserate, we talk about how great some things are and how other things could be better. But I mean, we're all very blunt and honest with each other and with our exhibitors, and I think it really benefits us. It's a lot better than showing up and being very coy about things. If there's something that's not working for you, the exhibitor who's there trying to sell you a product, that is where you tell them, actually, we'd prefer to be using the product in this way. They can then go back and talk to their engineers, which again is not something you necessarily are going to experience when you go to a larger conference.
Yeah. Chris is very coy. He's not very good at telling people how it is. And so that's why he struggles with these kinds of concepts.
He plays things close to the vest.
Yeah, he's very, very.
My secret
Doesn't like to ruffle feathers at all.
No, but I think that's an important piece, like the access to the manufacturers, the engineering, and like that substance, and those conversations are really valuable. And I think the vendors and manufacturers recognize that also, right? So that they make it a point to be there and listen and do the deep dive conversations because they need to know and they want to hear it. And I think it's not as noisy as maybe some of the other larger shows out there, and because of that, and the way that it's architected from the way that it looks, and all the events and the meals and the sessions and how that takes place, you get a lot out of those hallway conversations. And it may not just be the people in higher ed, you're sharing the hallways with those engineers as well, right? And so you can really have really nice quality conversations. And if you have questions about certain things, you can dive in and they'll say, well, this is why we did that. Or, oh, I didn't know you guys want to use it that way. Great. You guys wanted the hammer. I gave you a wrench. So you guys are, so it's a great conversation. I think it's important for folks that are within that region to definitely put out on your calendar and try to be a part of that, because I think everybody can come away with a great experience.
And he's not lying about the food. That was not
conference
bad food.
Yeah.
For conference food.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to vary from venue to venue, of course, but we've been pretty lucky so far with our catering.
Oh, did I just oversell the food coming up?
I might have just been Oregon State.
I think our catering will be just fine at
Okay.
at Boise State, and in
right.
fact, we're dealing with the same caterers. It's a chain with our next hosts in 2026, whose names I cannot reveal yet, but we are already planning out for 2026.
Can I spoil it? It's the University of Missouri at Kansas City. Jamie, FYI.
That's up to you.
Congratulations! Boy, that was a deer in the headlights look right there.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping, it was. I don't want to give away.
He's got
the
vacation. He's
advertising.
got a soccer match that week.
Yeah, I'm busy that day. We haven't announced the dates. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm not
Busy.
there.
Speaking of the dates, when was that? When are we going again here, Raul? What's going on? How do we get there? What's going on? Where do people need to go?
How do we?
So we're gonna.
Raul, how do I get there?
Well,
I'm going in
you
your
can
luggage,
walk.
so I'm just following you. So what's going on?
Larry and I are hitting the Oregon Trail. We'll get there.
So, well, you have to stop a little short then, because we're going to be in Boise. We're going to be in
We're
Boise
swinging by.
on the week of April 29th and through May 2nd. Look for us on our website at nwmet.org. All conference information is there. Registration is, I would argue, affordable compared to, say, other conferences. And I would venture to say that some exhibitors might even be willing to sponsor your attendance if you've expressed an interest to them or if you have any contacts. But yeah, look for we'll be there end of April in Boise. I'm very looking forward to it. It's probably going to be gorgeous weather, so it's really exciting.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
it better be gorgeous weather now that I'm gonna be
Banking
traveling
on it
from
now, yeah.
From snowbound 8,000 feet up here in the mountains of southern Wyoming.
And Byam's hosting a mountain biking trip, so the weather has to be good.
Better be spot on. Yeah. So.
Do they know they're hosting that, or did you just announce that?
Larry just
He's
signed him
already
up for
been
it.
sending out emails about
Oh,
it.
it's like Larry just made up a trip.
Is it all the way from
Nope.
Portland to Boise?
you got to ride all the way there.
Shirley's going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
We haven't got
It's Hooper. It's not Shirley. So
Oh, then this.
He would
is
ride from
already in
Portland all the way
trouble.
to Boise, though. He'd do it.
Yeah, he
He'd
probably
commit
is
to it.
riding all the way to Texas. So Raul, I guess any last things you want to plug? I think we're all excited about Northwest Med. It's I think for a lot of us it is our favorite conference of this type because, as you said, it's very different from the big trade shows. It's a very different environment. But anything that any last things you want to plug to convince people why they need to be there, or we'll just yell at them repeatedly from now until then. But anything else on your mind?
Prizes. We're very good at.
You
we're
guys
very
do
good
have lots
at-
of prizes.
Folks tend to go to conferences for the drinking. It's something I've heard.
Do they?
we don't.
Apparently in our initial catering quote, we were quoted something like 4 drinks per attendee per session. That's a lot of
Per
drinking.
session
Wow.
in the sessions.
That's like
That might have been per meal. In the end, I think
Close enough,
we cut that down dramatically because generally we are not a heavily drinking conference. But what we do is we hand out what we call Met money, which is kind of like Monopoly money. Like if you meet an exhibitor, you go to their booth, they will hand you some Met money, and the more of it you accumulate, the more you'll have for when we do a auction on our last evening of the conference. And at that auction, there's prizes for you to purchase with that Met money. And so,
By the way, these are legit. These are legit.
They're
prizes.
real
These aren't just
prizes,
Like,
like
this isn't like
Yes.
just general swag stuff. This is
Yeah.
Bluetooth headsets and headphones and all sorts
Many
of
of the manufacturers may or may not actually donate the stuff that's in their booth to these things or something similar to
There's-
it. We've seen it.
There's been video game systems and I mean,
they don't
there's a
want
lot
to
of
fly
cool
home
stuff.
with it. They're
projectors
like,
from this.
here, who's gonna give it up?
And that auction becomes very heated.
it
You
does.
have, like, groups going together. Like it is like the highlight of the
competitive.
whole show. Yeah, people are like, okay, they spend the week like planning how and like, hey, are you going to use that $50 over there? Because I'm really going after that widget, and so it's a whole thing. There's a strategy that goes into it.
It's fun and games, and almost everyone gets to come away with something. I mean, that's not the reason we're all there. We're all there for professional development. But
Yeah,
you
and
will get that
stuff.
professional development, and we do have at least one session on the program that'll earn you CTSRU credits. So that's always a good thing. So if you're looking for some professional development, you
There.
can that'll
Is that our
that,
session?
That is
That
not
may-
our
It's
session.
not our session.
no.
Guaranteed.
Ours
It's
costs
Not our
credits.
session.
So there is
Our sessions
RU.
cost you an RU. You have to pay an RU to get in.
Yeah.
So
I
there
was
is
wondering.
a pitch to be made to your leadership that if I go to this conference, I get some of those RU credits I need. But then there's also the learning, the connections, the ability to come away from that conference with some contacts that you didn't have before, and you might get a prize while you're there.
Or a pancake.
No, there's probably going to
Single
be
pancake.
pancakes. Almost everyone
Fries
gets
or a
pancake.
pancake. Either
There's
way,
bacon and
everybody's winning.
sausage and eggs
Mhm.
And such.
and fruit.
Justin,
yeah,
you
look-
seem to be singularly focused on one.
Focused on
topic.
breakfast. Yeah.
Justin just
skip
wants to get
lunch?
through this one. He actually wants to go through the whole thing and not just
Yeah,
part
for
of
those
it.
who were there last year, we had an injury. One of our players got injured mid-event, blew out his knee. Not naming names, Justin.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
We had to put him on IR and send him back
Yes.
to the specialist.
That was
But
rough.
do look for us at nwmet.org. You'll find all conference information there, and including how to register for the conference and information about who the exhibitors are. Again, if you can think of someone who is an AV or IT manufacturer or applications developer in higher ed, IT or AV, they are probably there. And you'll see some examples of some of the sessions and a lot of information about past conferences, which is usually a good indication of what future conferences will look like.
Good point. And I think I know I'm registered, and I assume everyone else here is frantically typing as we're talking to register. And those of you listening in your cars right now, just hit the big pedal to come to a screeching halt where you are, and start filling out your registration. It's perfectly
Drive
safe.
with your
That
knees
guy
and just
behind
do
you
it.
will go around.
Like Larry does.
Yes.
Again, can't stress
Flash
that
your
enough.
zone. It's fine.
Well, Raul, thanks for coming on. I think we're all excited to be there in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. When are we? We're
Something
close.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about 6. It's coming quick.
Ish. Yeah.
So we'll be there, and we expect to see everyone listening right now there as well. So there'll be literally millions of people. It'll be
Billions.
potential crunch. For,
We'll need a bigger ballroom.
Yep. And we'll have some AVSF swag too. So come get it.
Yes, lots of swag to give out for that. So, all right. Well, Raul, again, thank you for coming on and talking about this. nwmet.org, and congratulations, Raul, for retaking your crown as the top AVSF guest by number of appearances on various mediums, I suppose.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Think so. Alrighty, buddy. Did it. See ya.
Oh, this is the outro.
This is it. That's all over.
This is how it goes,
yeah.
Justin.
Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV Super Friends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.